Welcome to the Midlife Rider Project. This is a place for riders who have lived a little and learned a lot. A place for honest reflection, lived experience, and listening for the wisdom that emerges as we ride through this second season of life. Winter has a way of doing this thing for me where everything slows down enough that I get a chance to reflect on the longer story of things. Maybe it does this for you too. I get a chance to take a deeper look at the longer arc of the things in my life that I care about, like riding and having horses in my life. Right now, riding looks very different than it does in the middle of summer. The daylight hours are short, the ground is frozen, snow covered, or icy more often than not. There's no indoor arena waiting to make everything easier for me. So some days, what I have is a little extra time that doesn't seem to exist in the busier seasons. Time to reflect and remember. As I was thinking about this episode, I realized that relationship is what I want to talk about in these February episodes. Specifically, what it actually looks like to stay in relationship with horses over time. Because when I look back on my years with horses, what I see is not a straight line or a progression. It's more of a spiral that moves around and about and back again. The relationship stayed, even if everything else kept changing. For me, there was no neat, uninterrupted stretch. Horses wove themselves into my life anyway, through job changes, through becoming a mom and being a single mom, through losing my own mother and moves from house to house or state to state. And there were horses that were there as I bought and sold houses or started over more than once. There were seasons when horses were the center of my life, and seasons when they were held together with whatever I had left over after everything else. Sometimes they faded into the background for a while and then they came back. Maybe not in the same way, but then I wasn't the same version of me either. Different situations, different horses, different roles in my own life, different expectations of what this relationship was supposed to be. What I don't think we talk about enough is how many chances there are to walk away from this life. I know I've had them. There were lots of moments when it would have made complete sense. Life gets busy, money gets tight, bodies change, relationships shift, things happen. Sometimes other people ask us to choose between horses and something else that matters. But when that's happened to me, I always chose the horses, and I've never had a single regret about it. Some people do step away from horses, though, and some come back years later, some don't. I think one path is not braver or more valid than another. I just know that staying in whatever form it takes demands something of you, and so does leaving them behind. For me, staying did not look like holding on to the same dream. It looked like letting it change, letting go of some ideas I had about who I was supposed to be as a rider, what I could do with what I had to work with. I had to be just where I was some days that wasn't always where I wanted to be. The winter season, I think, is the perfect metaphor for this. When we're riding less, the relationship does not disappear. It just shows up differently through favorite books about horses that we pull off the shelf to read again, even though we've probably read it several times already. And the videos we watch from clinicians or favorite movies about horses, or the podcasts we listen to, like this one. The plans we make in our heads for the nicer weather ahead, just to stay connected to something that's been right there beside us for a long time. Winter proves that these seasons are part of our overall story, even if the winter we're experiencing isn't literal, but figurative. Midlife also has a way of inviting us into reflection. You start noticing the roads you took and the ones you didn't. I don't spend much time wishing I'd chosen differently, but I do think about how every choice shaped the relationship I have with horses now. When I look back, I'm not looking for answers, but checking my bearings, making sure I still know what matters to me. I always say that when exploring the road not taken, it's wise to use a proper compass. If you've stayed connected to horses throughout changes like these, through times when it would have been easier to let this part of your life go, you're not the only one. And if this brings up your own story, I would genuinely love to hear it. You can send me a message on Substack. I read them, even if I can't always reply right away. These stories matter. They're worth telling, and I'd love to share yours. If you want to share even just a moment where horses stayed with you through change, that's perfect. You never know who you'll inspire. I'll leave you with this. As things slow down this winter and you have a chance to reflect, what does staying with horses through change look like for you right now? Thank you for spending this time with me. If this episode resonated, I hope you'll join me again next week as we continue riding through this season together. Until then, take good care of yourself and your horse.